You've described elsewhere the importance and impact that your mother's beliefs and advice had on you personally. Would you mind telling us about that and describing what it was specifically about the value she imparted to you, the words that she used that left such an impression?
I have to smile because today is my mother's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to my mother, if she had still been alive. And my daughter reminded me today that this is Grandma's birthday. And my mother was the source of the strength of women in our family. Just a little story that I told a few weeks ago. My mother birthed my sister in the jungles of the Philippines during the Japanese invasion and during the Bataan Death March. They were running from the Japanese in the Philippines, and they would hide in the jungles when they knew the Japanese were coming. She had my sister without making a sound. She went through her entire labor process, and she woke up my father. Can you believe this? She woke up my father to cut the umbilical cord. That's how quiet she was. That's the strength of my mother. So after the war, they emigrated to Hawaii, where I was born in Hawaii. And she used to tell me, as they were making plans to come to America for what she called the American dream, Ruthe, you get that good education. They cannot take that away from you. You must get a good education. She had an 8th grade education. My father had a 3rd grade education. So she told me that you get a good education, Ruthe. Doesn't matter where you go, what you do, but they can't take that away from you. So her words followed me. And her words inspired me. And even though she would come to the classroom and to the schoolyard, and like you, I was the only brown kid in my class, except for my sister. Later on, another Filipino came in and moved into our classroom, and there were maybe several African Americans as we moved through high school. But we were the first Filipino family in Glendale. We were the first Filipino family to actually buy real estate. So I was Americanized. My mother wanted to make sure I became an American young lady. So, but she would come to the schoolyard and she would call me standing there, "Shh, Ruthe, come here." And I would just die of embarrassment because my mother, with her strong accent and her way of calling me, was something that no other mother did. Not until I went to the Philippines and I stepped out into the airport at Manila Airport and I heard this slew of people calling each other, "Shh, shh, shh," did I recognize that this is the way it is done back home in the Philippines for my mother. And that is the way she grew up, and that was the way she did things. And it took me a little while to really understand the culture that my mother came from, because she was so intent on making sure that we were part of that American dream and that they would do everything that they could. So she is my inspiration, has always been and continues to be.